Hello, fellow diamond painting addicts. Welcome back to Diamond Painting Anonymous. I'm Daphne, and I'm here today for this week's WIP and Chat. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, welcome back. WIP, W-I-P, stands for Work in Progress, and this is mine. You are welcome and encouraged to go grab whatever you're working on and work alongside while I chat, or alternatively, you can treat this as a podcast and just listen while I chat. Today, I'm going to continue working on my newest kit for our May Diamond Paint Along, and this one is called Floral Frenzy from Diamond Art Club. So let me zoom in to where I'm going to be working, and I will be right back. Okay, I've got my timer started. So let me just jump into what's been going on in my regular life. Gosh, a lot, I guess. Or maybe not. I don't know. It feels like a lot. It feels like I haven't talked to you guys forever since I didn't do like a full WIP and Chat last week since I was under the weather. Speaking of weather, everybody is out in full force. It has been in the 50s and above for the last several days. We've had quite a bit of rain, which is good because we needed it, but the weather's warm, so everybody is out. Everybody's getting their campers ready. So it's pretty busy. It's not quite tourist season around here yet, but I'm told that it will be soon. Let's see, what's happened since the last time I talked to you guys? Well, we did go up a couple of weeks ago, and the youngest and my husband helped my brother-in-law cut down some trees for the ditch that he wants to dig. He said he's got a friend that he hopes will come up with like a mulching machine so that they can mulch a bunch of the small branches and everything to get it all cleaned off. He wants to clear a ditch so that the water will drain from the property down to the creek that's behind the house. I'm just hoping, because right where they're cutting the trees down, like I said, is right where we saw the bears over Thanksgiving. So my brother-in-law has trail cams set up, but the bears that he's been seeing are on the other side of the property from where they're working. So hopefully no big deal. Although hubby did say they saw some pretty recent moose tracks, so be pretty amazing if this Thanksgiving I got to see a moose. We'll see if that happens. Hubby did extend the fence for the dogs. We ordered it's one of those that's just made to set up in your yard on its own, but we attached it to our fence and opened the back gate so the dogs can actually get out onto the grass now. The dogs are actually loving it. Even Sable will go out there and kind of prance around on the grass. She was having another diva moment last week. I don't know what happened, but she suddenly decided she wasn't going to go outside without being on the leash again. She wouldn't go down in the dog run. You had to take her outside, and as soon as she was done, she wanted to come right back inside. So I don't know what spooked her, but I think she's finally over it, or at least she's finally willing to go outside without having to be on the leash again. So Oscar pays nothing any mind. He goes out, true dachshund. He's digging holes in the yard. He found a piece of wood to chew on, so he was just happy as a clam sitting out there in the sun chewing on the bark. I know he's only a dachshund mix, but he is just like the other dachshunds that we had. Stubborn, cute, but stubborn. Some of the days that it was raining a lot, he decided he just couldn't be bothered to go outside, so he was in the doghouse for a little bit, but they're doing much, much better. This last week, hubby and I have been taking a lot of drives, just going out and driving around and seeing the scenery. Stopped in a lot of small towns, ate a bunch of places we'd never been before. Don't remember what town we stopped in, but we stopped in a little town. We'd been there once before, but I wanted to eat someplace different, and it was like a little, almost like a restaurant within like a museum type thing, but it was right on the water, so you could see the water. I was glad we were inside. Wait, I'm confusing two different restaurants. One was by kind of like a canal. The other one was actually on a river. The one I'm thinking of on the river, it was super, super windy that day. It was also a restaurant and a hotel, so no wonder I'm confusing them. Anyway, it was really, really good food. But I was so glad we were inside because the wind was just, like it was a Kansas wind. I've never seen it blow so hard here like that before. But we had a good time driving around and seeing a bunch of sights, and it's always fun for me to drive around and see the water and the boats because that's just not something I ever have encountered before. Where I lived, even fairly close to us, there wasn't even, well, I guess there was a fairly big lake close to us, but my parents were never big lake goers, which is kind of ironic, I think, because my mom's parents were big lake goers. They used to own a cabin in Fall River, if any of you have ever heard of that. And they would go up almost every weekend and swim and boat and ski, water ski, that sort of thing. I guess my mom just didn't really enjoy it, even though she went. My mom didn't like to swim. I'm not sure why that is. My mom knew how to swim. She just didn't like to. I don't know if something happened on one of her trips or if she just decided she didn't like being on the water. She did make sure that all of us kids learned how to swim. We all went and took lessons, so we all knew how to swim, but just was never something that she enjoyed. As I can remember as a kid, my sister and I would go to the local rec pool and spend, a good chunk of the afternoon there, but we were by ourselves. I mean, my sister was a teenager, so, and we were supervised by the lifeguards and stuff, but times were different back then. Parents didn't go with you everywhere. Mom said go play, and you were free from the time you got up until the street lights came on. You did have to come home for lunch so she could check in on you, but other than that, you're just out running around in the neighborhood. How did I get starting on swimming? Oh, because we were by the water. Anyway, we went to see several different places that had water. Of course, we were on a river. We were on this kind of canal. And then we went to this, he took me to this park that used to be an old gold mine, I think he said. So it was actually one of the few places you can't swim in it. I'm not sure why. I'm assuming it has something to do with the fact that it used to be a mine and it's probably dangerous underneath the water. But then he told me that they had scuba diving lessons there, which seems even more dangerous, so I don't know. Anyway, they have hiking trails and everything, so you can walk all the way around it. You could get paddle boats and kayaks to go out on the water, but not something that I ever plan to do. I think I've told you guys before, I don't like being out on open water. I get freaked out way too easily, even though I know how to swim. That's one of the reasons hubby and I haven't planned our trip to Newfoundland and Labrador yet, because he really wants to take the ferry and I don't. I'm afraid that we would get halfway through the trip and I would start flipping out because I just, in the past, have not done well on open water. I did take a whale watching tour in California once, but my kids were with me, so I was trying to hold it together because, it'd be bad if their mom flipped out. But I was still nauseous most of the time. We didn't see any whales. We did see some dolphins, but no whales, so not an experience I want to repeat, however. Still have trips to plan. And speaking of trips, somebody had told me, I think I mentioned to you guys last time, that Oak Island is now open for tours, which is true. But upon looking at the website, they're pretty much sold out. They're only open on the weekends for one thing, which I'm assuming is because, like, this summer they'll actually be filming for the series that comes out, because, like, the finale of the season was last week. So they're going to be spending time doing all of their digging and everything this summer, because it does say there are certain places, like it's a tram tour, so you only get to go certain places on the island. It's not like they let you just wander wherever you want. And I'm curious to see, because in some places it said they had their interpretive center, which is like their little museum on the island of all the stuff they've found over the years, will be open. But then other places on the website it says it won't be. And there's supposed to be a gift shop, which I think is not actually on the island, but right before. And it says it's open, but then somewhere else on the website it says it's only open by chance. So I don't know if that would even be open if we went down there. And I went to go look at tickets, I think from the 17th. No, that's not right. What's the weekend after that? That'd be the 23rd, something like that. Is that right? 23rd, 24th, something like that. Everything is sold out until like September, which is crazy that I just heard about it and everything is already sold out for 2026 at least. I didn't look at 2027 or beyond. I don't even know if they're selling tickets that late, but I can believe they were already all sold out because, according to my son, no one watches that show but me and my husband. Every time I watch it, what'd you find this? What they find this week, Mom? Another rock? Some days the answer is yes, that's what they found. I do find it fascinating, though. I've been watching a lot of shows on like ancient Egypt and building the pyramids and stuff like that. Like what did I watch the other day? It was watching some video and it was talking about how in the 70s, Egypt decided to build the Aswan Dam, and it was going to put some of the temples and things that were not like right in Cairo, they would disappear underwater because when they finished the dam, it was going to, of course, fill up this lake with water, and then a bunch of these pyramid or tombs and everything, and temples and whatnot would be underwater. So one of them, built by I think Ramses Abu Simbel, was actually this French archaeologist woman managed to get enough of the higher ups together to talk that they ended up taking this, like it's one of the ones that's cut into the side of the mountain with the huge like sitting figures and everything. I'm sure you've probably seen pictures of it even if you don't know what I'm talking about. But anyway, they moved it higher up the mountain so that it wouldn't be underwater. But they said they couldn't do that with everything. There just wasn't enough time or money. So some of the temples and things and tombs are now under Lake Nasser, which is kind of crazy. Anyway, I've been watching a bunch of stuff like that, so a bunch of random weird facts floating around in my head. But the archaeology of it to me is fascinating. I've also been watching a lot of things about British history, them digging in people's gardens, and because, England has just been built on top of itself for the last 1,000 years. So, there's modern day houses, and then there's Victorian houses, and then there's medieval houses, and then there's Roman houses. And it's just really fascinating what they find in what are now people's lawns. And then I watched one on these people who were digging in Italy to find a theater that was supposedly built by Nero. That was really interesting because they did end up finding it, but again, it's like buried under the courtyard of a current monastery, and they were going to be doing some renovations, so they let the archaeologists come in. But once all the archaeologists have dug everything and plotted it and taken pictures, then it's all going to get covered in so they can make a garden out of it. I mean, I suppose you can't dig up everything and put it in a museum, but that just seemed kind of crazy to me. Don't know what we're going to do about Oak Island. I still want to go there, and I still want to go to Halifax and see the Titanic Museum and the Halifax explosion stuff. Hubby and I were joking because neither one of us is old enough to get the senior discount to get into the museum, which only saves you like $1, but I probably am going to be able to spend more than just a day looking at all the Titanic and explosion stuff, so we'll probably make a weekend of it and go drive there. We were hoping to do both at the same time, but they're not right next to each other like I thought they were, so I'm map challenged some days, trying to figure out where things go. I am slowly starting to learn my way around. I still don't know a lot of the back roads and stuff, but I generally can find my way to something if I'm going somewhere, even if hubby isn't with me, generally. Although we were traveling around so much this week that I did not keep track of my plans like I thought I did, and I ended up flaking off my haircut appointment, which was super annoying, not only because I really need a haircut. Now I'm going to be blowing my bangs out of my face for another 3 weeks because she didn't have an appointment open right away. And I felt super bad. So I ended up buying her a Tim Hortons gift card and taking it to her to apologize because I felt so bad. Because, I don't know if she managed to call anybody in to fill up my spot, but I felt really bad because that's the kind of job where if the person doesn't show up, you don't make any money, right? And I was so excited last week because I found my Swipper mop that was supposed to have reusable heads, and it doesn't. They are not washable, which is super annoying. I think I told you guys that already, maybe in the other one, but anyway, super annoying. So I've got to find some rewashable ones, the reusable ones that I can use. What else has been going on? Hubby is changing the brakes on his car. He started getting a warning light. But the brakes on his car are expensive because it's big enough to haul all of our stuff from Kansas to Canada. And we made the trip here, and we've made a trip there and back without the trailer. But last year when we drove his car to go see everyone. So it's got quite a few miles on it. So he was changing those this week and spring cleaning everything. He's been cleaning out the car. We bought a mat for the back seat of my car because that's usually what we take if we take the dogs anywhere. Sable Shed's just as bad as Oscar, but my seats are like a dark blue, so her black hair doesn't show up as much as Oscar's white hair. While we were at Canadian Tire, I found a cover for the back seat so it will hopefully keep all the dog hair to a minimum. I need to call this week and get them into the vet. I keep saying we need to get them in. I keep forgetting to call, but we need to get them in. I'm trying to think if there's anything else we did that I wanted to share with you guys. I'm sure there probably is, but I can't think of it. Oh yeah, hubby and I went out today so that he could pick up a card and a gift for his mother. We're going over to the in-laws for Mother's Day dinner. I don't know what my brother-in-law is cooking. I'm taking banana cream pie because everyone loved it so much. My sister-in-law, who is the usual baker for everything, texted hubby and asked if I would bring something. She's bringing a dessert too, but she wanted me to bring something as well. So we decided I was going to bring the banana cream pie. So I went out and got all the stuff to make it again. I think last time we ended up leaving it, there was just a couple pieces left, and I ended up leaving it at my mother-in-law's for them to finish off. I'm still floored that my sister-in-law doesn't like bananas. I don't think I've ever met anybody before who didn't like bananas. I mean, they're not my favorite fruit by any stretch, but they're sweet, so people usually like them. I need to sit down and work on this kit while hubby's watching baseball. He's keeping an eye on the Blue Jays. He's been watching their games, and everybody's sort of been keeping their eye on the Montreal hockey team. I think they're the only Canadian team left in the playoffs. Hubby got to watch a Formula One race last week. I think it was last week. There's no race again until the end of May, which is a Canadian race. It's in Montreal. I looked up tickets just because I thought, well, maybe it would be fun to do a last-minute trip with hubby to go see that. I've been to a Formula One race. He has not. There are only so many packages available. Like, I think all the general admission tickets are sold out. The paddock package, which is like the highest VIP one, $7,000 a person. Sadly, I considered it. I was like, well, if I just bought one ticket for hubby, and then I was like, no, because hotels are just going to be insane. While it is fun and I would like him to have that experience, you can't see anything when you're actually at the race. You get split seconds of the cars going by, and that's it. And honestly, they've made some changes to the regulations this year, so everybody has sort of a brand new car. They just don't sound the same as they used to. And they're saying that maybe in a few years they'll go back. So maybe in a few years will be a better time for us to go. Plus, I clearly need to plan it a little further in advance. I often thought about buying tickets when we were still living in the States because there was a race. At the time, the only U.S. race was in Austin. And I thought about getting tickets to go down there because it wouldn't have been a terrible drive. I think I need to start planning now for a trip 2 or 3 years from now. I don't know. Anyway, I started talking about that because I don't know how I got here. Anyway, what I was going to say was Happy Mother's Day to everyone. Whether you're a mother, a daughter, sister, aunt, whatever, or if you're a dad who is filling in for a mom, Happy Mother's Day to everybody. I'm going to spend some time talking to my oldest, catching up with her, seeing how things are going with her. She only has a couple weeks of work left, and then school will be out for the summer, which I know she is looking forward to. Things are always stressful leading up to graduation, which is today for most of the kids, but she works with the special needs kids, and so they do their own separate graduation so the kids don't get overwhelmed, and they do that on Saturday. So they had theirs yesterday. I need to check with her and see when her passport expires to see if she could come up for a visit sometime this summer before school's back in session, because I would love for her to be able to come up and visit. She's not too thrilled about having to fly by herself, but it would be cheaper for her to travel up here and stay with us than for us to drive or fly back down there, and then we have to rent a car or get a hotel or both. But we'll see. I'm not sure how much plane tickets will be. I haven't looked at anything like that in a while, so. And we could have her fly like we usually do, fly into Bangor, and then we just drive down and pick her up from there, but even that may be expensive. We'll just have to see. Last time I talked to her about it, she wasn't sure that she wanted to fly alone, and she was making plans to perhaps go see one of her friends during the summer, so she may be busy. But flying at the holidays is just a nightmare trying to figure out. I mean, she gets Christmas and Thanksgiving off, but it's always so busy to fly. Plus, the weather can be bad and unpredictable, and you never know if you're going to get delayed or rerouted. So, I don't think she'd handle that well if she was by herself. Moving on, let's move on to diamond painting life. What's going on in my diamond painting life? As you can see, I am still working on Floral Frenzy. Haven't made a lot of progress, but we've been gone pretty much every day this week, so I'm going to try and get caught up. I did finally get laundry done. The pie is made. I'm not quite finished with bills yet, but those are almost finished. And then I should be back on track for everything that I kind of let go this week. And hopefully that will include getting back on track with all my diamond painting stuff. So I'm working on this one for our newest kit, Diamond Paint Along. I still have Benedict Blue that I will be working on because I didn't finish it in April. So that one still needs to be finished. And I do have Slow Jazz kitted up. Again, no drills laid on it or anything yet, but I do have it kitted up, so it is ready to go. Not sure what I'm going to do for next month because June is DP for pets, but I'm hoping I will get this finished and at least one other thing before June starts. I am planning to do an AMA / whip and chat where you guys asked lots of good questions. Although I told my husband I thought it was funny. The one question I was sure everybody would ask, nobody did. But I got lots of good questions, so I've got them all kind of tabulated, and I'm going to do sort of like a whip and chat where I talk and answer all of your questions. So that video will be coming out. Oh, and also, I recently discovered that Diamonds for a Better Tomorrow either is closed or is closing. I guess the lady who is running it just doesn't have time for it anymore. And I heard they were possibly going to find someone else to take it over, but I don't know if that's going to happen or not. So I'm just assuming it's going to be closed, which is kind of a shame because I thought it was a nice thing they were trying to do. But running a charity is hard, although I did think it was kind of funny, to go to all the trouble of like getting set up as a charity and tax exempt and all of that just to turn around and close it. But who knows what they had going on in their personal life. I'm sad to see it go because I did send some of my donations that way. I'll just find some other way to do things. That's life, right? Everything is always changing. Also, I was out looking, every once in a while I'll just go out and look on like Amazon or on the web for diamond painting stuff, like has anything new come out? And I saw either on Facebook or Instagram that Forever Young is now making, and I know I've seen these before, but they're making they're like see-through frames for sectioning stuff. So it's like clear so you can see it, sort of like clear release paper, but with an edge around it so it looks like a little frame. And then you just peel it off when you're ready to work on that section like you normally would. But I know I've seen people on Etsy selling those long before now. And I know Forever Young is doing trays and rulers, and I think they're doing kits now. The towers, now they're selling those. Like, are they just going to copy everything that's out there so they can try and take over everything diamond painting? It just seems crazy. I mean, I guess there's a million companies out there all selling the same thing, but I guess whoever does better marketing, what do I know? And then last time I talked about the 26 for 26 challenge. A lot of you are doing it. Kudos to you. Several of you said, no way. I think I'm with the no way people. I just think having that many kits, even if you're not expected to finish anything, having that many whips all at once would just make my head explode. I get overwhelmed when I have 3 right now, and I'm overwhelmed by those 3. I don't think there's any way that I could do 25 or 26 and still remain sane. I do like these bottles. They let me do my little spearfishing thing where I just open it up, stick my pin in there, and I just need one drill so I can get it out. The last thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about was yesterday's video, my 10 most intimidating kits. And I got kind of a mixed bag of responses. Some of you who said, just rip off the Band-Aid. Once I get started working on them, I'll like them a lot more than I think I will. That I shouldn't let the size intimidate me. And I agree. I mean, I've done much bigger kits and gotten through them, even if they weren't my favorite image. I mean, I did a Josephine wall, for goodness sake. That wasn't a favorite image. It was okay, but it wasn't one that I was just absolutely frantic to do. But then several of you made comments about if these are kits that I've hung on to for this long and I'm continually shoving them to the back of the shelf, there's a reason. And I think you're both right. Someone suggested I was hanging on to them for sentimental reasons. There are a couple that are sentimental. The Notre Dame is for sure sentimental because it reminds me of my mom. So that one is for sure sentimental. The Angel of Justice is sentimental just because it's a craftable and I only have 2 left. So I've kind of hung on to it for that reason. But there are a couple of them that I probably would be okay with letting go. And hubby and I had discussed whether or not I should just sell some of them. And I'm not trying to break anybody's bank or anything, but just sell them for a little bit of money, you know, get back what I paid for them, plus whatever shipping is going to be. That's the issue for me. You know, right now, with me being in Canada, it wouldn't be any big deal for me to ship it to somebody who is also in Canada. But I don't want to get into a situation where I ship it to somebody in the States and somehow it gets hung up at the border for some reason, and then either I or the other person end up with some unexpectedly big bill because I didn't mail it the right way or whatever. If anybody out there is a wizard with how to avoid a situation like that, if I should decide to sell a couple of those kits. And while those are my most intimidating ones, I do have some other ones that I probably would let go of as well that I didn't include in that particular video because they're not big kits, or at least as big. So yeah, if anybody has any feedback on ways to do it as cheaply as possible for shipping and make sure that it's not going to get hung up somewhere so somebody wouldn't get what they paid for, because I certainly don't have any insight into that. I mean, I could just take it to the post office and ship it, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to get to its destination if it's outside of Canada. So yeah, any input would be appreciated. I think that's everything I wanted to tell you guys for today. Like I said, sorry for all the rambling, but lots of stuff on my mind. It's been 2 weeks. I know I did a little like mini whip and chat earlier this week, but not quite the same. So leave me any feedback from the questions that I asked if you have any. Again, you guys have a lot more collective knowledge than I do about some of this stuff, so I always turn to the experts, which is you guys. I'm pretty close to being done with this section. I've got 3 more colors here and then I can move on, so I'm excited about that. I think I will sit down tonight with hubby while we watch television and try and slam some of this out. We'll see how far I get. That's it for me today, guys. Again, thanks so much for sticking around through all the rambling. Before you leave, don't forget to do all the things. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification icon so that you can be informed of future uploads. And as always, guys, thanks so much for watching. Oscar has to eat on the couch because he's too good to eat on the floor like a regular dog. Sable, is he being mean to you? Are you being a good girl? Yeah, you're being a good girl. Oscar's being crazy. Hi, Oscar. Yes, hi, Sable. I see you. Yes, I see you. Yes, I see you. Yes, I see you.